Hello everyone, my name is Rafaela and I'm a Master of Science from Brazil. I study at Fluminense Federal University and the title of my paper is Phytoliths from Plants of the Cerrado, the Brazilian Savanna. The Cerrado is a kind of savanna that covers about 22% of Brazilian territory and is considered a global biodiversity hotspot. It presents an extreme abundance of endemic species and suffers from habitat loss. From the point of view of biological diversity, the Brazilian Cerrado is recognized as the richest savanna in the world, housing about 11,000 species of previously catalogued native plants. There is a great diversity of habitats which determinate a remarkable alternation of species between different phytophysiognomies. The objective of this work is identify and characterize the presence of phytoliths in species from Cerrado. To do that, we establish modern reference collections that will enable further environmental reconstruction studies using this indicator, the phytoliths, thus contributing to a better understanding of the biome. In this study, 38 plants from 50 families were analyzed. The samples were collected from the South Espinhoso Mountain Range in the state of Minas Gerais, Brazil. To the left, we saw the name of family, gender, and species, and to the right, we saw some examples of these plants. This is the steps we do at the lab to prepare the samples for study. The results showed that, in general, Cerrado plants produce many phytoliths, with tracheary, polyhedral, elongate, bilobate, and block types predominating. It also possible to observe a great silicification of trichomes, which may indicate adaptation of the vegetation to the environment. However, it should be noted that there was considerable variation in quantity and morphotypes between species, indicating the need of further studies on the phytoliths production of plants in the Cerrado. We saw in red the plants not produce phytoliths, so we have 8 species that we don't find any kind of phytoliths. Figure 1, Poaceae. This is an example of a plant produce phytoliths. This species from Poaceae family produce bilobate, elongate dentate, elongate entire. This is a Palinea cernua. She produces elongate entire, tracheary, spheroid spicillate, and acute bulbous. This is an Ageratum fastigiatum. She produces puzzle and spheroid ornate. This is a Chamaecrista roduntata, and these plants produce predominant block types. This is a species from the gender Tibuquina, who produce bilobate, acute bulbous, and sclerate silicified. This is a species of Aristida and produce elongate entire, elongate clavate, polylobate, and bilobate. This is another species from the family Poaceae, who produce acute bulbous, bilobate, articulate bilobates and elongates, stomata, elongate sinuate, and elongate entire. This is another species from the family Poaceae, who produce, again, bilobate, block, and elongate entire. This is a species from gender Ludwigia, who produce the type puzzle. This is a species from the gender Baccharis, who produce polyhedral, tracheid, stomata, acute bulbous base. This species is Dicranopteris flexuosa, who produce tracheary, puzzle, and spheroid ornate. This is a species from the gender Myconia, who produce elongate entire, spheroid ornate. This is a species from the family Verbenaceae, who produce polyhedral, bilobate, and elongate sinuate. This is a species in the gender Tibuquina, who produce spheroid achnate, bilobate, bulliform flabellate, elongate sinuate. This is a species from the family Lauraceae, who produce polygonal, acute bulbous, tracheary, and stomata. This is a species from the gender Heterolobium, who produce tracheary silicifides. This is another species from Poaceae family, who produce bilobate, cross, stomata, elongate sinuate. This is a species from the gender Brachiaria, who produce predominant bilobate and elongate entire. This is Eugenia desenterica, who produce polyhedral and conical papillate. This is Eremanthus erythopappus, who produce bilobate, conical papillate, and papillates. This is a species from the family Myrtaceae, who produce tracheid, elongate entire, and acute bulbous. This is a species from the family Arecaceae, who produce spheroid echinate. This is another species from the family Poaceae, who produce bilobate, cross, elongate entire, stomata, and block, like the others. This is a species from the family Arecaceae, who produce spheroid echinate and tracheary. This is a species from the family Anacardiaceae, who produce polyhedral, tracheary, acute bulbous base. The figure 26 is a species from the gender Ichthyosanthus, who produce acute bulbous, elongate entire, and tracheary. To the right, figure 27 is a species from the genus Corotolaria, who produce polyhedral, tracheary, and acute bulbous. This is a species from the gender Frimbistylis, who produce papillate and elongate entire. This is a species from the family Cyperaceae, who produce block and tracheary. To the end, this is a species from the gender Ludwigia, who produce polyhedral and acute bulbous. So, phytoliths have shown to be promising tools to better understanding of the region's vegetation, as well as for we use in paleoenvironmental studies on the biome. The Cerrado biome in terms of biodiversity and social context, still presents lacking in the number of studies, especially in relation to its vegetation and processes of adaptation to environment. This reaffirms the importance of the study of biomineralations in the plants for a greater understanding of this vegetation. In addition, phyloenvironmental studies that may provide information of the evolution of this biome throughout the Quaternary need this modern reference collection for comparison with fossil phytoliths assemblages. In this sense, phytoliths have shown to be promising from studies in Cerrado, mainly because this is an area lacking environment suitable for the use of other proxies for reconstruction of the vegetation. Thank you so much, and for contacting me, please send to my email address Rafaela Dias @gmail.com.